Outside with the fastball. It's 1-1. And that's our camera looking at it behind Carl Yastrzemski in the left field scoreboard. And that's how Yastrzemski sees Ken Griffey with the count 1-1. Again, he goes outside and misses. 2-1 to Griffey. Tiant trying to become one of the few pitchers in World Series history to win 3 series games. Last one, Mickey Lolich for the Tigers in 1968. 2-1 pitch is fouled back. And Tony almost made a nice catch.
Joe, I thought you made a good point a while ago when you talked about Tiant not pitching the same kind of ball game the last few times we see him. He reminds me in this regard a lot like Juan Marichal, who might throw you 3 or 4 innings of screwballs, off-speed stuff, then go 3 or 4 innings of straight fastballs. They can change their pattern from game to game, and it's confusing to the opposition.
Where he spots the ball, too, Tony, if there's any spot that he owns that low outside corner on both hitters.
He's been pitching Griffey outside. He's behind or even now, 2 balls and 2 strikes. 1 out. The on-deck hitter is Joe Morgan. And a breaking ball is fouled past the first base coach, George Sugar, so the count will remain 2-2. There's Joe Morgan, who has walked 4 times and has a stolen base in the series. Listed as 34 years old. He'll be 35 November 23rd. That's been disputed. Satch Davidson calls it a ball, and we have a 3-2 count.
I got to believe that's the pitch he just couldn't pull the trigger on. It was too close to where you say, I'm going to take it.
They play Griffey straight away. And the payoff pitch. And it's inside, ball 4. So Ken Griffey draws a walk. He has 1 stolen base in this series, and that's the first base runner of the game. And we'll bring up Joe Morgan. Morgan has 4 hits, 17 times up in this series. And 2 of the 4 hits against Louis Tiant. He has driven in 2 runs. Cecil Cooper will hold Ken Griffey at first. Petrocelli on the grass at third. And Louis goes over there. Everyone was talking about Reggie Cleveland throwing over to first base 15, 16 times with Johnny Bench up in Cincinnati. Quick toss over, and not far enough for Griffey to move.
Kind of lost his balance on that move, Tiant did, but I tell you, I see nothing wrong with throwing over there. As a catcher, you like it because it'll take the spring out of you base runners' legs if they keep throwing over there.
And Joe can hit the fastball.
Yes, he can.
And Tiant's first pitch to Morgan is taken ball 1.
Morgan handled his clinic before the ball game like he does all the time, Joe. He had Concepcion and Griffey out there around the first base bag. They measured off their 13, 14 feet. He made a mark on the grass. That's how far they're going to go off Tiant. Get the maximum lead they can possibly.
See what Morgan does with his left elbow. He did that in high school. Rudy May was a high school teammate of his, and he started way back then. Pitch to Morgan, a fastball on the outside corner for a strike. Looks like Tiant is going for the outside at every one of the Cincinnati hitters so far.
Well, I tell you, if you had a young pitcher, that's what you would tell him if he had that kind of control. Never mind what you throw it low outside, and you've about 3/4 of the way to the Hall of Fame.
1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Griffey the runner at first. And a let-up pitch, straight change. Misses 2 balls and a strike. Tiant pitched complete game victories in the first and fourth games of this World Series. 5-hitter in the first game shutout and gave up 9 hits in the 5-4 victory in game 4. Two and 1. Griffey doesn't go. Tian is outside. Louis likes to work faster than he's working here, but with a speed merchant, Ken Griffey on at first, he's taking his time.
Morgan doesn't like base runners moving too often. They say, or he says, it distracts his attention. He cannot concentrate on the ball. He has given Sparky, if this might come out and not come out right, permission to run guys in situations like this or with 2 strikes.
Gave him permission?
And the throw over to first. First base umpire there is Art France.
It's early in the game, but this is one of your key situations already with Griffey at first, 3-1.
Cecil Cooper.
Three balls, 1 strike to Joe Morgan. And he pops it up. It's playable. Carlton Fisk behind the plate. And Pudge makes the catch.
Tough play.
Looked like that wind took it the last minute, caused Fisk some problems. But Morgan is out, 2 down.
That's a tough play. That ball got above the stands here. Now Fisk finds it and with all the confidence goes after it, but watch it start to drift back and he just dances right with it. And Tiant right there. I tell you, that's a tough play. He made a good play on that ball.
And Johnny Bench, the cleanup hitter for the Reds, has 5 hits in this series, but only 1 hit against Tian. He's 1 for 8 against Louis. Has 1 homer and 3 runs batted in. 2 out. Griffey the runner at first. Burleson is playing deep at short. Petrocelli deep at third. They play Bench to pull. Fastball for a strike. Well, Bench is a known pull hitter, Tony, but in game 2 we saw what Johnny could do as he took the Bill Lee pitch to the opposite field to start a Cincinnati rally.
They've been trying to keep the ball away from him, and he, of course, went that way, started to do it against Lee. But he knows the wall is out there, and the wind blowing out.
Strike 1 to count the Bench. We're in the top of the first inning, no score. And there's a foul out of play to the right side. And Tian quickly is ahead of Johnny Bench, 2 strikes.
Joe, as far as I can recall, there is the flag that is an indicator which way the wind is blowing. A little bit higher than that, it's gusting even more. I think that pop-up, as you described it, Joe, to Fisk, is a good indicator of how that wind is blowing the higher the ball is hit. Out towards center field. Excuse me, Tian's throw just 1 off-speed pitch.
One off-speed pitch. Here's where I like to see him work when he's way ahead.
And he strikes out. That's control for you. Bench went after it, and Louis Tian strikes out Bench to retire the side. The Reds lead 1. Red Sox come up no. Those are our umpires. Satch Davidson, of course, behind the plate. Larry Barnett, a key figure in this World Series, was booed by the fans when his name was announced. He'll use the umpire at third.
He's got a little extra pressure as we look at Satch Davidson. Barnett, as you probably know by now, there he is at third, received the wire threatening his family, his wife and daughter, and the FBI have been giving him protection. Extra pressure.
Cecil Cooper back in the Red Sox lineup. Leading off, has a hit 13 times up and takes a called strike. Gary Nolan, who has made 5 previous World Series starts, his record 0-2 in World Series play. He started the 3rd game of the series, pitched 4 innings, allowed a run on 3 hits. Swings and misses. A good fastball by Nolan, 0-2.
Nolan noted for his excellent control, slow curveball, sneaky fastball. And Joe, I've got to wonder this. With the wind blowing out, the wall in left field in Fenway, one of his, well, I guess his best pitch might be a straight change of pace. And might that affect him not wanting to throw it in this kind of conditions?
There is the changeup, and it's hit out to center fielder Cesar Geronimo, who is there making the catch for out number 1.
I think the thing he has to worry about, Tony, is developing a romance with it to where he just wants to do it, and somebody get fooled and still pull that wall in behind third base. Most of the fastballs, I think, you'll see mostly fastballs into the outside part of the plate.
Well, Denny Doyle, the only player on both teams who has hit safely in all 5 of the previous games, has 6 hits in all. Had a triple in the first inning in Game 5 at Cincinnati. Swings and fouls off the first pitch for strike 1. Gary Nolan, a 15-game winner this year, and a very impressive lifetime record. Here's the 1-strike pitch to Denny Doyle. It's a breaking ball outside.
Nolan is another one of these pitchers who seems to look to the ground as he starts his delivery and then comes at you from an angle. And To many hitters, and I put myself in that category, it's distracting when they're not looking at you.
Bounding ball, fumbled by Perez. Gets it over just in time to Nolan. Perez had trouble with it, but Doyle is out, 2 down. This telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball as we take another look at that play.
Tony Perez, they're trying to get back in the groove after 3 days off. A little bit shaky, but he recovers nicely enough, and Nolan, of course, over in time to make the play on Doyle.
Any publication, rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Commissioner of Baseball is prohibited. Major League Baseball has the right of approval of announcers for this event. Carl Yastrzemski with 5 hits in the series. With 2 down, nobody on in the first inning. Ball 1.
Gary Nolan has not been a very effective pitcher away from Cincinnati. He's much better at home than he will be here in Fenway Park.
His next pitch is high. It's 2-0.
He was 11-2 at Riverfront Stadium, Cincinnati. He's under 500, 4-7 road games in 75.
Balls behind Yastrzemski, 3-0. Very fine control pitcher is Gary Nolan as Don Zimmer flashes the signs at the third base coaching lines. However, Yastrzemski led the Red Sox in walks this year and has drawn 4 bases on balls in the series.
Darrell Johnson turns him loose, 3-0.
Taking all the way, and it's strike, 3-1.
That's about the first time the whole series where he hasn't.
Well, he likes to see him hit here, and you can see why.
You saw Carlton Fisk waiting in the on-deck circle. 3 balls and 1 strike to Yastrzemski. And a base hit. Solid single to right field. And we get an idea how the ball is rolling and moving in the outfield. It looked like it slowed up too much.
That high fly ball in batting practice, it was landing and kind of just plugging. But the ball, I tell you, the groundskeepers have just done a magnificent job here with that surface, that clay surface. It seems to dry up the field, and Joe Mooney and his guys really deserve a lot of credit.
And while we were sleeping over the weekend and depressed over the rain, they were working. The lights were on here, and they worked just about 16 hours, 17 hours a day.
Well, you were sleeping, Joe, and I were working.
Carlton Fisk takes ball 1. 2 out. Yastrzemski is on base. They shade him over to the left. In fact, Joe Morgan is shaded very close to second base. They give Fisk all of the right side of the infield. Back-to-back singles by Yastrzemski and Fisk with 2 out in the Red Sox first.
Sparky has already let it be known that if Nolan experiences any difficulty, he's going to get him out of there in a hurry, and he'll go to 7 pitches if he has to and save just Don Gullett. There's the Cincinnati bench. No one going to the phone yet.
There's Larry Shepard with the jacket. He's the Cincinnati pitching coach, and now we do have activity in the Reds bullpen. So Sparky not wasting any time. Jack Billingham, who was a bit peeved that the rotation was switched, and there's left-hander Fred Norman joining him in the bullpen. You use everyone in the 6th and 7th games of a World Series. Here's Fred Lynn. 5 hits in the series, 2 runs batted in. Fastball tails away for ball.
Freddie Lynn thinks the off days was a definite break to him. He's been in a little bit of a slump. He's had time to go under the stands in center field, take a lot of extra hitting practice, try and get back in the groove.
Yastrzemski's at second, Fisk at first, 2 down, bottom of the first inning. And there's a high fly ball deep to right field. Going back, Griffey, forget it. It's gone. And this place is rocking. And Tony, the words just out of your mouth. Fred Lynn got the rest. And he hits a deep home run in the bleachers.
He is one of the smart young hitters to come into this game in a long time. Joe, take a look at this swing.
I tell you, he levels it out in a hurry. Perfect bat control. And look at that follow-through. He worked at it yesterday and the day before, and it paid off for him.
That was not a Gary Nolan type pitch. He does not throw many balls right down in the middle of the plate like that one appeared to be. He's on the corners usually.
Ball 1 to Rico Petrocelli. Now he takes a strike. Fred Lynn has his first Major League home runs. Have a hunch he's going to hit some more before he's through. Petrocelli along with Rick Burleson, the leading hitters in this series with 7 hits apiece. Red Sox lead it 3-0. 2-1 the count to Petrocelli. Norman and Billingham working in the Reds bullpen. And that's deep to center field. Going back, Geronimo on the warning track makes the catch. Petrocelli hit that ball hard. 3 runs, the big blow, Fred Lynn's home run. After an inning, it's 3-0.
So the Red Sox are out in front 3-0. We'll be coming back for more of that game when we return. We'll also be talking to George Steinbrenner. He'll be joining us live, and we'll be checking in, too, at Kings Island, Ohio, where they're playing the LPGA Championship. Kings Island sits just outside of Cincinnati. And how does the city of Cincinnati figure to be affected by a baseball strike? Well, if baseball is through for 1981, the city of Cincinnati will lose $45 million. We'll be back after this.
We play in our pool while he works on his, because we use HTH, while he adds chlorinators and algicides, plus shock treatments. Save time and money with HTH. It's my primary chlorinator, algicide, and shock treatment, all in one. HTH, the best seller among pool professionals. Spend less on your pool. You'll get more out of it. Can opener!
Outside, the sea throws you an angry coming home party. But below, there's comfort. Introducing new Royal Comfort Pipe Tobacco. Now you can take comfort in knowing there's a good-tasting aromatic pipe tobacco specially blended.
Different things, and I must contribute over Autry with the California Angels.
Well, the number 8, number 9 hitters are starting it off for the Reds in the 5th inning, and so we will definitely see a pinch hitter for Jack Billingham. But first, Cesar Geronimo will lead it off against Louis Tiant. Geronimo was a strikeout victim in the 3rd inning. Tiant has given up 2 hits, has walked 1 and struck out 4. He got out of the toughest jam he's been in last inning with runners at 1st and 3rd, 2 out, not of his own doing, and induced Concepcion to foul out. And there's a drive to right field, and White Evans is there to make the catch. Evans picks up the ball in a hurry in right field.
He gets there in a hurry. He does not drift to a ball where the wind might affect her. If the ball sails, you could get hurt. Armbruster now is going to be the pinch hitter. Crowley called back. Second time that's happened.
He's the designated on-deck batter.
I was going to say. Twice he's been out there, and twice he's been called back by Sparky Anderson. So Ed Armbruster.
Sparky is saving the men he considers his top hitters off the bench, and also the percentages for a men-on-base situation. He still has Dreesen on the bench.
So Armbruster, who has been up 1 time, and of course played a major role in that controversial play in game number 3. He has sacrificed once, and of course that was the big play in which interference was claimed by Darrell Johnson and of course rejected by the umpires. So Armbruster batting for Jack Billingham and takes ball 1. 1 out. We're in the top of the 5th inning. 3-0. Boston leading Cincinnati. Game 6 of the World Series. If the Red Sox win, we'll have Game 7 tomorrow night right here. 2-0. Falling behind Armbruster, the second pinch hitter to face him tonight. Armbruster sacrificed in the 9th inning of game number 4. On the corner, fastball, 3-1. He's really hitting those spots tonight, Joe.
Amazing. His grandma's flashing a bunch of signs. They got to get base runners. Armbruster's looking. I'd be surprised if he's turning them loose.
He loses them, and Armbruster draws a walk. That's the second base on balls given up by Tiant. He had walked Griffey with 1 out in the 1st inning. So Armbruster, the runner, with 1 out. And once again, the top of the order for the Reds, Pete Rose. lined out to Yastrzemski left and singled up the middle. The first Reds hit in the third.
Tiant's amazing streak continues up here in Fenway Park, Boston. He's at 40 consecutive innings without an earned run. What an amazing thing anywhere, but especially here with that short fence in left. The wind blowing out as often as it does.
Armbruster does not go, and Rose bunts it foul into the crowd. Well, Joe, he talked about the wind blowing out, and after the first 2 games of the series, no one hit the ball off the wall. We've had 1 home run. Where was it? Right field bleachers.
That's right. Never fails, man. They'll do it every time.
1 strike to Rose. 1 out, Armbruster, the pinch hitter who had walked on at first. Cooper holding him on. Art France, the umpire. Dick Stello and George Maloney are the foul line umpires in this game. Stello of the National League, Maloney of the American. And a shot from right fielder looking into the plate. This was outside, and Tiant wants a new ball. 1-1. Native of Havana, Cuba, now he lives in Milton, Massachusetts. Luis Tiant. Pitch for the Indians, the Twins, before joining the Red Sox in '71. One pitch to Pete Rose. Fisk held it there. Didn't get the call. It's 2-1.
That last pitch was a good look from our center field camera right into Louis Tiant's glove. We can take you with some of these powerful lenses, places that you can't get if you're in the ballpark.
2 balls and a strike to Rose. Reds trying to get something going here in the 5th inning, trailing 3-0. They can win the World Series with a victory tonight. On the outside corner, fine pitch by Tiant, and Clay Carroll, who will come in and be the 4th Reds pitcher in the bottom of the 5th.
You've heard the expression many times, he just will not give in, and Tiant, with Armbruster at first base, Tiant will just not give in. He just goes to that outside corner. He'll not throw it down the middle. He'll make you hit the pitch he wants you to hit.
1 out, 1 on, 2-2 to Pete Rose. Fastball fouled off to the left side, and the ball bounds onto the field. So Ed Armbruster goes back to first. Rose with 1 hit and 2 times up tonight. He has 7 hits in the series, 7 for 20. On deck is Ken Griffey for the Reds. 2-2 pitch. And the count runs full to Rose.
There's that good snap throw, that quick throw both Bench and Fisk can do so well. Just flip the ball and it's down there before you know it.
Tiant had a base runner in the first, Griffey with a walk. Rose with a 2-out single in the third. Perez with a single in the fourth with 2 out and an error, had runners at first and third. Now it's 3-2 to Rose with Armbruster on. The 3-2 pitch, Armbruster goes, and Rose fouls it back right in here. I've got a catcher and a shortstop, and I had to make the play, and it was off my hand.
I ducked it, man. So did Ned Martin.
Get the white flag out.
Ned assumed that married man stance. He ducked right under the chairs.
3 balls and 2 strikes to Pete Rose. Armbruster was running on the pitch. 1 out. We're in the top of the 5th inning. Reds have 2 hits. The Red Sox 5. 3-0 to score. Again, Armbruster on the move, and Rose lines a base hit to center field. Armbruster will try to go to third, and Lynn will throw to second.
Freddie got the ball caught in the webbing of his glove. Armbruster started to slow down around second base, and then he decided to challenge Freddie Lynn's arm. I think he might have surprised Fred. You don't do that too often on him.
I would think so, but the ball had to get caught in his glove.
He got to the ball quickly, and then, well, I do believe he was surprised by Armbruster.
He didn't get the good grip, and it could have been a surprise because Armbruster did stop at second base.
So once again, the Reds, last inning they had runners at first and third with 2 out. Now they have runners at first and third with 1 out. And the heart of the Reds order coming up, Ken Griffey, who walked and bounced to second. He'll be followed by Joe Morgan. 3 hits now for Cincinnati. There have been 3 one-run games in this series, an extra inning encounter, and the Red Sox have out-hit Cincinnati. But in games, it's 3-2 Reds. That'll be out of play to the left side.
How would you look at that lead that Pete Rose had off first base? He was a couple of strides off and leaning heavily back toward first. Respect for Tion's move.
The big run is at the plate. He's not about to get picked off. You know, without a whole lot of fanfare, Mr. Rose, I think, is just taking the lead as far as the most base hits.
Number 8, that's right. 8 hits. Red Sox have 3 with 7. And Rose did not get off to a real good start, if I remember. It was 0 for 5, 0 for 4 in the first game. 1 strike pitch. Misses outside, 1-1. This is Dick Stockton with Joe Garagiola and Tony Kubek at Fenway Park. Game 6 of the World Series. Reds trail 3-0, but they're threatening with 1 out in the 5th. The 1-1 pitch to Griffey. He held up, and wisely so. 2-1 now. Cooper holding on Rose at first. Armbruster at third.
These are the kinds of situations where Tion has come up with a big pitch throughout this series. Men on base, the hitter ahead of him.
Two-one pitch. And a fastball.
A little bit extra when he needs it.
That might have been his best fastball.
A little bit extra.
2-2 to Griffey. And he's an important man, Tony and Joe, because with Morgan and bench the next hitters, if you lose him, that 3-run lead can disappear in a hurry.
In a big hurry. Boy, that was a good pitch, Tony.
He needs another one right now.
1 out, 2 on. 2-2 the count to Ken Griffey. And a fly ball deep to center field. Lynn going way back, and he can't make the play. It's off the wall. Evans will recover, and Lynn is not up. He has been shaken up. 1 run comes in. Here comes Rose with the 2nd run, and Freddie Lynn is hurt in the corner in the dead center field. He must have hit his head against that wall, and he is really shaken up. And Darrell Johnson, trainer Charlie Moss, going out to center field. Griffey on at third with a triple, 2 runs in, and I've never heard Fenway Park as silent as it is right now.
He hit it hard. He was going full tilt when he jumped, turned his back to that wall. We don't know if he hit his head, but he sure jarred his back very hard.
Tony, look at the crowd is just
standing up.
Stunned. They're all standing. The big hush over the ballpark. You just don't know. There's a shot of the crowd.
Have you ever seen a ballpark like this during a game?
The concern is here because he gave it a real challenge as he got up, but as you pointed out, he hit that wall so hard, and he didn't move.
Evans, Yastrzemski, Darrell Johnson, and the trainer Charlie Moss, and Stan Williams, the pitching coach out there. He was shaken up. That's about as deep as he can go in that area of left center field.
Looked like an off-speed or a breaking pitch that Griffey hit. He jumped on it, and Lynn did get a good jump on it, just ran out of ballpark, but it didn't stop him. He went into that wall very hard.
Let's look at it again. Freddie Lynn on the ball off the bat of Griffey. charging full speed in the deepest part of the park to left center field. Right here, he tries to kick off with that right foot, but he slipped on the concrete, and when his right foot slipped, it spun him around, and he smacked into it with his back. I did not see his head hit, Joe, but his back sure was hit hard.
He took one quick look at that wall and knew he had some room and gave it that extra effort. That wall didn't stop him at all. He was on a warning track, I believe, when he took the look.
No question, it was the back as we saw the replay, and this is a tough kid, you know. He played football for John McKay at Southern California, was a defensive back.
You've talked on previous telecasts over the radio, I know, Dick, about his tremendous body control, his diving catches, his going into the wall and not really being hurt. Right there, you saw that right foot slip off the wall, and that was the key, I think, that spun him around, and he really took a bad jar.
Tony, he has made several diving catches this year going to right and left center field. He has gone against the wall before. This is the first time we have seen Fred Lynn get hurt on any kind of a play in the outfield.
There it is. He just spun himself around. Amazing effort.
He's going to stay in.
Well, he's accounted for the 3 Red Sox runs, but now the Reds have forged back, trailing 3-2. 1 out, and the tying run is at third as Griffey on at third with the 4th extra base hit of the series. He had 3 doubles previously. And Joe Morgan, the hitter. Tying run at third, 1 out. And we talked about Griffey being a key man for Tiant, and now he really has to face the iron of the Cincinnati lineup. And the scoreless string of Tiants, of course, goes by the boards here in the 5th. But more important, I'm sure, to the Red Sox and Tiant is the game. Ball 1 to Morgan.
An amazing streak, 40 in the 3rd innings. There's Griffey with a big hit.
Infield in for the Red Sox. Pitches outside, ball 2. And, of course, knowing the way Sparky Anderson is managing the series, a closer score, of course, makes it more prominent for Rollie Eastwick to perhaps play a big role later in this game. If the club is out by a lot of runs, he's not as effective. On the let-up pitch, pops it up to the left side. Petrocelli makes the catch for the 2nd out. He was a big man.
Joe Morgan has talked almost this entire series about being over-anxious at the plate. He says, I've been swinging at pitches I do not ordinarily swing at, trying to play beyond my abilities. He got a change-up. He looked like he was fooled. He went after it. Johnny Bench struck out swinging in the 1st inning and took a called 3rd strike in the 4th. 2 out, Griffey at 3rd, 3-2 the score. We're in the top of the 5th inning, Boston leading Cincinnati. And there's a line drive, left field. Yastrzemski going back will play it off the wall. Griffey scores the tying run, and Bench is held to a single as Yastrzemski plays the left field wall perfectly. And that's the first ball to hit the left field wall, and the score is tied. Watch Yaz do what he has done better than anybody else in the history of this ballpark, play the wall. 24. Bench did not hit the ball well. He looked like he was fooled. He reached for the ball, might have hit it on the end of the bat, but the wall is finally hit.
Strength of Bench. But Yastrzemski plays it like a highlight player. Long single.
It's a 3-3 ball game. The Red Sox got 3 in the 1st. The Reds tied with 3 in the 5th. Here's Tony Perez, struck out and single. Fouls it off to the right side. It was a curveball. Perez got his base hit into the right field in the 4th inning.
My apologies to Ted Williams on that last one. He played that wall pretty well, too, for a lot of years.
Bench the runner at first with 2 down. Fastball high and away. And activity for the first time for the Red Sox. Jim Burton, the left-hander, Jim Willoughby, the right-hander. 1 ball and 1 strike to Tony Perez. The Reds have tied it here in the 5th. Each side has 5 hits. The Red Sox have the only error in this game. Challenging with a fastball as he fouls it back on the screen, 1-2. Bench now with 4 runs batted in the series. Griffey, who tripled in a pair, now has 4. The Cincinnati club comes right at you. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Two and two.
Cincy's lineup doesn't give you any rest. They come at you with 8 hitters and a couple more off the bench. Almost all of them capable of hitting the ball out of the park.
Well, they led the major league in runs scored. Red Sox were tops in the American League. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fisk faked the throw to first. Count is full of Tony Perez. On deck is George Foster. 3 and 2, 2 out. Bench at first. 3-3 the score. And the Red Sox will see a new Cincinnati pitcher in the last of this 5th inning. Payoff pitch. There goes Bench. Perez strikes out to retire the side. But the Reds have fought back with 3 runs, 3 hits. They leave 1. It's a new ball game.
It is a new ball game, tied at 3. We'll be returning 5 years ago. Most of the people who were a part of it have moved on to other teams, sometimes out of baseball. How many people who played in that game are still in either a Reds or a Red Sox uniform? Would you believe only 7? 5 of them who played for the Reds and 2 who played for the Red Sox. In dealing with the strike today, for those of you who may have joined us late, we...
Then one day, and this
brothers in the National League.
Pickup. It's the only American-built 4x4.
Had 5-3 on a double, an RBI double by George Foster, and then a Cesar Geronimo homer in the 8th, up the count to 6-3. Luis Tiant was gone in favor of Roger Moret, and as they started the bottom of the 8th, Pedro Borbon came on as the 5th Reds pitcher.
Bottom of the 8th for the Boston Red Sox. It'll be Lynn, Petrocelli, and Evans. Lynn hit a 3-run homer in the 1st inning. That's been all the scoring. That came off with Gary Nolan. Fred Norman, Jack Billingham, Clay Carroll, and now Borbon have held the Red Sox to only 3 hits. So the bullpen has really done a job for the Cincinnati Reds.
And 2 of the key men are still down there and available. The 2 youngsters, Eastwick, who has 2 victories. He's a right-hander. And McEnany. They were big men all year long for Sparky Anderson, and he's still got them available in case the Red Sox get something going.
Bottom of the 8th. Borbon against Lynn. Off his leg, Borbon challenging it, but he can't make a play. Lynn, a single. Tremendous effort by Borbon.
And you saw Best jump out from behind home plate, right off the leg. Watch Bench jump out, yelling to Borbon not to throw the ball. Hold it. Don't throw it away. Don't let that man get in scoring position. That man behind the plate is always thinking. He'd have grabbed him if he'd tried to throw it.
Rico Petrocelli coming up right here, and of course he's going to have to make a decision after this World Series is over, whether it ends today or tomorrow. Will he continue? That's a big issue as far as the Red Sox and of course Petrocelli personally is concerned, as Borbon takes a few warm-up tosses. He's had a fine career here in Boston, Rico has, and that's going to be a pretty big decision for him, and this could, if the Reds go on and win, be his last at-bat.
The middle ear problem that he's had. Borbon against Rico Petrocelli, 6-3. Cincinnati leading. Didn't mean to swing. It is foul. Just want to point out, as you did, Tony, on Bench, telling Borbon not to throw. That's the difference between a take charge guy and a holler guy. The holler guy, to me, is the guy who's always hollering a number of outs, and all you got to do is look at the scoreboard. And then comes a play where you have to make a decision. He gets lockjaw. Bench, he just told Borbon, hold it, don't throw it away, keep that double play in order.
He has shown a kind of agility behind home plate in this series that you rarely have ever seen.
1 ball and 1 strike. Borbon gives up his first hit. Cincinnati bullpen has come out and they've done a job so far. Out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. There you see Raleigh Eastwick, McEnany. They've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pitchers and still have those 2 young fellas, and Gullett well rested. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
It's been kind of a sore spot with Sparky Anderson, Joe and Dick, when people have said down through the years that the ball club cannot win the big ones. He's gotten very irritated with those statements by a lot of people.
I don't blame him because, Tony, You played on championship clubs. I know, Joe, you did. To get there, you've had to win a lot of big ones.
Been a well-managed series in both dugouts, Sparky Anderson and Darrell Johnson.
Now it's a 3-2 pitch. That's out of play. Good fastball. Petrocelli tried to check his swing. 6-3, Cincinnati leading. Bottom of the 8th. Fred Lynn is on at first base. Stays alive. Tension is really starting to build now. The on-deck batter, Evans. High. Corbone walks him.
High run at the plate right now. Evans, who's been a big hitter for Boston, is coming to the plate. Here comes Sparky.
And, of course, we all remember Game 3 of the series when the Reds had a 5-1 lead and the Red Sox refused to give up, as the Reds did not give up in Game 2. And he's already signaled for Raleigh Eastwick. That's been his key man coming out of the bullpen. And the Red Sox, of course, have not given up at any point this year. They were down to the Minnesota Twins run once by a score of 7-2 and won it 8-7. They staged some dramatic rallies, and I'm not surprised at what they're doing here. But Eastwick has been a tough customer for him.
Here he comes. He doesn't use that card. He comes trotting in, and he's going to have to face Evans, Burleson, and a pinch hitter.
And I would think that Bernie Carbo would be the man.
Carbo, who hit the big home run in Cincinnati. So we've got it building here to a tremendous climax. Sparky Anderson just waiting for Eastwick to get there. He wants his ball club to nail it down. Bench is just waiting. Morgan is in on a meeting. It'll be Evans. Evans was called out on strikes in the second inning. He doubled in the fourth. Bounced out to the second baseman in the sixth. Eastwick, it's his 5th appearance. He's 2-0 with 1 save, and if he gets a save tonight, he ties Larry Sherry's record.
Well, Evans represents the tying run, as we mentioned, with nobody out, 2 men on base. If this lead is maintained by Cincinnati, if Eastwick holds them, the series will be over. The Cincinnati Reds will be world's champions, the first time since 1940. One other time, 1919, they were world's champions. They waited a long time.
Okay, as Raleigh Eastwick warms up, we'll tell you that we'll be coming back to see just how he did. Game 6 of the 75 World Series will continue after these messages from your local station.
7 for 20. The hot man. Eastwick, good fastball. High and tight, ball 1. One ball, no strikes, nobody out. He was going for it. 1-1 the count on Evans. There you see him, Lynn at second, Petrocelli at first. Foul ball out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Raleigh Eastwick. What a job he has done for Sparky Anderson this year. As his whole bullpen. There is Burleson, the on-deck batter. Coming straight back, it'll be out of play. He didn't seem to have a good cut at that one. Six to 3, Cincinnati leading. We're in the bottom of the 8th. Tying run is at the plate. Outside. He let that one fly. 2-2.
He's just come in and thrown smoke so far. He hasn't worried about nibbling on outside corners. He's come inside a couple of times to Evans. Cincinnati bench.
Foul ball. He got that ball in. Evans gave it a tomahawk. I'll tell you about the tension as you look at the Red Sox manager Darrell Johnson. Bourbon is still seated on the Cincinnati bench. Two-two pitch. Low, ball 3.
Oh, Johnny wanted that pitch. He turned on home plate umpire Satch Davidson. They thought they had Dwight Evans called out on strikes. Watch Benson, the reaction he'll give to Satch Davidson. Oh, that looked good. Ugh.
Close. Might have lost it when he came up with it. Here's the payoff. Struck him out. Eastwick comes back with a good fastball.
And you got to give him credit after what he thought was a lost pitch. He came right back, Joe. Evans helped him out. He swung at 3 bad pitches out of the strike zone that time up.
Here's Burleson now. Big strikeout for Eastwick. And there is the on-deck batter coming out, a pinch hitter, Bernie Carbo. There you see him. Low, ball 1. 6-3, Cincinnati leading. Bottom of the 8th, 6th game of the World Series. Left field, Foster is there. Makes the play. 2 outs. Now it's Bernie Carbo. Carbo hit the first pitch in Cincinnati as a pinch hitter in Game 3 and hit it over the left field wall.
Carbo, one time the #1 draft choice of the Cincinnati Reds. You heard it before, but that's the irony of this game. He was drafted before Johnny Bench. Here comes Morgan. He wants to know how Eastwick is going to pitch him.
Well, Carbo's a good inside-out swinger, and most teams this year try to pitch him well inside. They try to jam Carbo. In fact, he hit that home run, as you mentioned, Joe, but the other time he was retired, he also hit the ball solidly to left field.
Right. They're playing him to left field, too, Dick. Foster is way over near the line. A lot of room in left center. Right.
Saw Joe Morgan turn and look at his outfield, moved them all back. Anything hit among them or between them, he wants that man at the plate kept out of scoring position. That's the important guy. He's a tying run.
2 outs. Inside, misses, 1-1. Single by Lynn opened the 8th inning. A walk to Petrocelli. Sparky Anderson went to his bullpen again. Eastwick got Evans on strikes and Burleson on a fly ball. 1-1 count on Bernie Carbo. Ball 2. Trying to keep that ball inside. Lynn at second. Petrocelli's at first. Good cut, good fastball, 2-2's the count. That was strength against strength. Good fastball hitter against a good fastball pitcher. Eastwick. Out of play.
That was the one, Joe. It was a little bit out over the plate. Carbo a little bit late on the swing.
He's had his cuts. Bernie Carbo, a pinch hitter. Two-two pitch. Just did get a piece of it to stay alive. You talk about fighting off a good pitch.
Looked like he hit that out of the catcher's glove.
He did.
Ball was down low. He did fight it off. Just got a piece of it. Just protecting the plate.
That's the kind, boy, if you get a foul ball, you're really happy you did your job. center field, way back, way back. We're tied up.
Well, the fans have come alive again, Tony, Joe. They are alive.
What a study of a manager, Darrell Johnson. And what a study of fans. And what a study of a bench. There he is, Bernie Carbo. 2 base hits, 2 home runs.
Old stone-faced, they call him, but inside, he's a pretty happy man right now.
The fans are still at it.
Strike one, Cecil Cooper.
And Carbo tied Chuck Esigian's record with the Dodgers in 59.
As Cecil Cooper steps in, we can tell you again, the game is tied. Cecil Cooper did strike out in this situation. Raleigh Eastwick did manage to retire him. Ball game, as you know, now tied at 6 as they head on into the 9th. And in extra innings, we'll get to that in just a moment. Usually at this time, we bring you our 7th inning stretch. Hardly matters to us that we've reached the 8th inning. Let's take another trip down memory lane. Today, remembering Ralph Kiner.
Allspice presents
A strong-arm slugger with a reckless swing. Ralph Kiner joined the Pittsburgh Pirates in 1946 and became the first rookie in 40 years to lead the National League in homers. Under the tutelage of Hank Greenberg, Kiner smoothed his stroke and became the league's home run leader for a record 7 consecutive seasons. The Pirates were chronic losers, but Kiner's home run assault on Babe Ruth became the league's biggest attraction. Kiner socked 51 in 1947 and 54 2 seasons later. Though plagued by an aching back, he was a fearsome clutch hitter, tying a major league record with 12 lifetime Grand Slammers. Forced to retire at age 33, Ralph Kiner was the home run hero of a war-torn generation.
And the Reds. It's a memorable game. It's one full of thrills. When we left you, it was tied at 6, thanks to a dramatic home run by Bernie Carbo. In the top of the 9th, the Reds went down quietly in 1-2-3 fashion before Roger Moret. Red Sox coming up in the bottom of the 9th with a chance to send it to a 7th game.
Oh, boy.
Picture tells the story, and the sound, too.
Big red machine has power failure, says the sign. It'll be Doyle, Yastrzemski, and Fisk in the bottom of the 9th. Fred Lynn. It's the meat of the lineup for Raleigh Eastwick.
And, of course, Joe, Sparky Anderson, as he has throughout the series, using a lot of pitchers, getting the hook out early. You get into an extra inning battle, and you've used just about everyone. He has McEnany, who hasn't appeared, but he doesn't have many more.
High, ball 1. Foul ball, 1-1. Doyle is 1 for 4. He bounced out Perez to the pitcher, doubled to right in the 3rd, bounced out Morgan the 1st, and popped to the shortstop in the 7th. He has 7 base hits in the series. High. 2-1. Ball 3. Down Zimmer. He's hollering. Take a look. You got a little finger moving. Does that mean something? Who knows? Here it comes. Ball 4. Johnny Bench wanted that one. A little bit of confusion, but it was ball 4. Now what do you do, Dick?
Well, Joe, Man on first, nobody out. You want to get him to second. However, Carl Yastrzemski, I believe, has not sacrificed at all in 1975.
Well, here we got some more drama then. Will he bunt? Will he ask him to bunt?
If he does, it'll be the first time. Darrell likes him to hit away. So this will be interesting.
Here it comes. He squares around. Fouls it off. He's got to get a run. Yastrzemski, 7 for 22 in the series. Has not bunted all year, says Dick Stockton, who broadcasts the Red Sox games.
He's beaten out some on a drag bunt situation, but nothing in a sacrifice.
Foul ball as he switched off. Strike 2. Doyle returns to first. You can see the determination, the tension as you look at Yastrzemski. Eastwick. Bottom of the ninth. Right field, base hit. Griffey up with it. Doyle heads for third. He's there.
Drama in World Series play. We talk about these Reds as Sparky Anderson comes out of the dugout. The Red Sox refusing to give up. Now in a very enviable position of having runners at first and third, nobody out in the bottom of the ninth inning. Fly ball, and of course I'm sure we will see the infield and outfield drawn in, just as the Red Sox had the same situation as McEnany gets the call in Cincinnati.
Sparky is going to have to make his move. The big run, of course, is on at third. Obviously, he'll walk Fisk to load him up, and it'll be up to Fred Lynn, Petroselli, and Evans. Zimmer has gone in to the dugout. He wants to talk to the manager, Darrell Johnson, while Johnny Bench has a meeting as they wait for Will McEnany to come in. We have really had it here. Pesky and Zimmer having a meeting at first base. Pesky coaching at first and Zimmer coaching at third. We got meetings everywhere. There you see Yastrzemski and Perez. In the coach's box, it's Pesky. That meeting breaks up as we wait for McEnany.
Okay, as Captain Hook makes another change, we're going to step aside for just a moment. Sparky Anderson used 8 pitchers. Only Don Gullett was saved for a possible 7th. We'll be back. Game 6 of the 75 World Series. Let's reset the stage. Reds led the series 3-2 coming into Game 6 at Fenway Park. The Red Sox jumped out in front by a score of 3-0 on a Fred Lynn home run. The Reds came back to tie it. In the 5th, tied it at 3. Then in the 6th inning, the Reds went ahead by a score of 5-3 when George Foster's double brought home 2 runs. They increased that lead to 6-3 on a home run by Cesar Geronimo. But the Red Sox came back in their half of the 8th. Bernie Carbo, in a pinch-hitting role, came up and smacked a 3-run homer to straightaway center. That tied the game and sent it on into the 9th. In the 9th inning, Roger Moret set the Reds down in 1-2-3 fashion. But in the bottom half of the night, Denny Doyle walked. Carl Yastrzemski singled him over to third. First and third, nobody out. Will McEnany brought on, as you can see, walked Carlton Fisk intentionally, bases loaded, none out, tie ball game. Let's go back to the action.
He had a base hit in the 8th. He scored 2 runs. He was knocked in 3.
Griffey and Geronimo are shallow. The left fielder, Foster, moves over to the line. He's not quite as shallow as the other 2 outfielders. The infielder's in as well. It's all right here, Joe.
Here it is. High fly ball, left field. Foster's got a shot. They're tagging up at third. Here comes the throw. It is in time. Doyle is out. Foster to bench. A double play.
Here is the throw. Foster made the catch in foul territory. He needed a perfect throw to keep the Reds from losing this game, and it was. And Bench make the swipe tag. No question about it. Denny Doyle out at home.
Watch the tag by Bench. It's the same kind of tag Fisk made in Cincinnati, like a first baseman. Makes the grab and one hand and swipe tag. Gets him before he gets down. Denny Doyle is out. A double play. Sparky Anderson is out there once again. Oh, brother.
Second guessers may have a picnic.
You always have a picnic when the man is out. Foster made a decision. This time it turned out right.
Don Zimmer has been an aggressive third base coach all season long. He believes that it takes a very fine throw to get the men most of the time. Here is Doyle. Now there's his start. He put on the speed, but it took a fine throw, and as you pointed out, a good tag by Johnny Bench to double off Denny Doyle at home plate. Yastrzemski went to third, holding at first Fisk and Rico Petrocelli.
So there are 2 outs. Petrocelli with Yastrzemski at third and Fisk at first. Foul ball, strike 1. A one-bounce perfect throw by George Foster to Johnny Bench. Got Denny Doyle. McEnany. There goes Fisk. Swung on a bouncing ball. Pete Rose has it. The throw to first in time. And now we go into extra innings. The score at the end of 9, Cincinnati 6 and Boston 6.
And so that classic moves on into extra innings. We'll get back to it, but let's repeat the phone numbers. The 75 World Series, the Reds and the Red Sox were deadlocked at 6 innings. The game continuing thanks in great part to a great throw and tag on the part of George Foster and Johnny Bench. Now we move on to the top of the 11th. Out of the ball game, Roger Moret. In is Dick Drago. To face the top of the Reds order, it is Rose, Griffey, and Morgan.
Well, it'll be Pete Rose, Ken Griffey, and Joe Morgan. What can you say? Who can you point to in this game? You just can put all the names on the wall, throw a dart, and where it lands, you got yourself a hero. As you look at the scorecard, I tell you, Nolan against Tiant were the starters, and then it's Nolan, Norman, Billingham, Carroll, Bourbon, Eastwick, McEnany, and Darcy. Tiant went 7 innings, gave up the 6 runs. But here we are, all tied up. Drago against Rose. Should the Red Sox win it, we'll be right back here tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern time.
I think fans have gotten everything they could expect out of this World Series, Joe.
I don't know what else. I don't know what you could write into it, Dick.
We've seen dramatic pitching. Louis Tiant. We've seen a very popular, dramatic figure on the mound, entertaining the fans. We've seen Cincinnati's power. We've seen good defense. We've seen chances being taken on the base paths by both clubs. Fine defensive play. Close games.
You've had the heroes come through, the guys you expected, and you had guys come through that, well, just unsung, but good ball players. And here we go. 11th inning. Ball just popped out of Fisk's glove. I think he took something off his fastball. It's ball 1. Rose. There's the man, Griffey. Big triple in the 5th inning. Rose has 2 base hits tonight. Fouls it back. Fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Rose. Bearing down. Foul out of play. He was going to the opposite field. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
This is Steve.
Outside. Ball 1. Morgan. He gives the coach plenty of chances to go through signs, which is a good idea. If nothing else, he wants to know if Griffey is running, if he's got the green light, if he's got the no steal sign on. Some managers will give you a don't steal. Strike is called on the outside corner. A good fastball by Drago.
You heard that pop up here.
Tell you, he throws hard. He throws hard. And he challenges you. And that's what you need from that relief pitcher. Saw it as he came out of the Cincinnati bullpen. That's Griffey. Our split screen, we get to watch him. And there's a good throw, but almost threw it away. Now Morgan wants to talk to Grammas. He wants to make sure. It could be any number of things. It could be a play on, and it could also be the other side of the coin where he says to Grammas, look, flash a sign to tell him to stay there, put a rope on him and tie him to the bag because I want to hit, and it's just distracting me. Hitters have been known to do that. And it could be that he wants to know, is he going to run? If he's going to run, I'd like to know when, because it certainly wouldn't be a hit-or-take situation here with 1 ball and 1 strike. Morgan, the kind of a guy you could do a lot of things with. Well hit, right field, deep. Evans is going back near the wall, and oh, what a catch he made! What a catch by Dwight Evans, and it's a double play. Griffey didn't know what happened as Evans made a spectacular catch, and take a look at this.
Dwight Evans went way back. He had no room to go anymore. Watch it. He knew where he was. One-handed catch. Crashes against the wall. Now his throw is off the mark by about 20 feet to the right of first base. Burleson covered the bag. The double play. Big play of the game. And now we go to the bottom of the 11th inning, still tied at 6-all. We've seen it all.
What a great catch by Evans. And so the Reds are gone in the bottom of the 11th. We'll continue with that game in just a moment. As you know, the baseball head now to baseball. We go through the bottom of the 11th and the top of the 12th very quietly. But as we move to the bottom of the 12th, the first man to step in is Carlton Fisk. And facing him out on the mound, Pat Darcy. He has become the 8th Reds pitcher used by Sparky Anderson in what may be the most dramatic moment of the modern era in baseball, at least in the past 20 years. Let us go and check in on that action in the bottom of the 12th.
Game in the third series contest, and now we have a 12-inning contest. And it'll be Fisk, Lynn, and Petrocelli against Pat Darcy, who has been very impressive in 2 innings. He has set down 6 Red Sox hitters. Only Clay Kirby and Don Gullett have yet to be used as far as Cincinnati pitching is concerned. Six runs, 14 hits, no errors for Cincinnati. 6 runs, 9 hits, 1 error for Boston. And Fisk will lead it off, has a single and has walked twice. Has been on base 3 times. Actually was safe on a force play. Been retired once tonight on a bouncing ball to short in the 7th. Here's Fisk. And the wind blowing out. We've had 3 homers tonight, all to right field or center field. Carbo's was to dead center. The other 2 to right. There's a ball. There it goes, a long drive. If it stays fair, home run. We will have a 7th game in this 1975 World Series. Carlton Fisk becomes the first player in the series to hit one over the wall into the net. Red Sox win it 7-6 in 12 innings. And Carlton Fisk had a lot of little boy in him right there, Joe.
He took one step, knew it was going to be close, he knew it was gone, and it was dancing in the streets all the way around. Johnny Pesky greets him at first base, and he is dancing as he gets his second base.
It came very close to hitting that foul pole. We'll see how close.
There it is. Pick it up as it comes, and there it is. It did hit it, and Foster did come up with the ball. So there will be a 7th game here tomorrow night.
What a World Series, Joe Garagiola, have we seen here between these two clubs. It's fitting that we have a 7th game, you know.
It had to go to the 7th game, Dick, because they've battled and battled. And now tomorrow night, it'll be Gullett, Bill Lee, this crowd refusing to leave. Amazing. So their ball club battled back. They've been up and down, clutch plays, clutch catches. And they are just dancing in the streets here as Carlton Fisk brings a 7th game.
A lot of body English for Carlton Fisk. Watch it.
How many steps does he take? 1. He waits to see it. Get over. Get over.
He knew it. There it is.
I tell you, one of the more dramatic home runs in World Series history. And there is Tom Yawkey to the left, Haywood Sullivan. And there are the fans, and the picture says it all.
Well, you won't see many more exciting World Series than the 1975 Classic.
What a memorable ball game. It was as good as baseball can be, and that was very good indeed. How good can golf be? We're going to try.
And the people played their crazy game with a joy I'd never seen. And the air was such a wonder, from the hot dogs and the beer. Yes, there used to be a ballpark right here. And there used to be rock candy and a great big 4th of July with the fireworks exploding all across the summer sky, and the people watched in wonder how they laugh and how they cheer. And there used to be a ball